After watching this episode of SAOA, it became very apparent that this story arc is going to be a very, very slow burn. Hello my friends, it's time to return to the underworld of SAOA, and another fantastic episode which is really taking its time with its story, and if this were any other anime series, I might be a little disappointed by that fact, but according to my commenters and some information that I've looked up about this season, this one is going to go on for a good while, so I do like that they're actually taking the time to build up this season, and this episode right here was basically just more of the same. Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh hanging out by this tree and desperately trying to cut it down. But by the end of the episode, it looks like the story is officially going to pick up, as they manage to introduce another new character. While not super new, she was shown in the previous episode as a nun, and she goes by the name of Selka. And Selka just so happens to be the younger sister of Alice, the girl who was banished. Just like Yu-Gi-Oh, Selka seems to be very upset about the banishment of her sister. That and the fact that she seems to have some feelings for Yu-Gi-Oh, which don't seem to be reciprocated, as Yu-Gi-Oh seems to be completely in love with Alice. But after being inspired by Kirito in this episode, she seems to actually go to that mountain where she's actually about to enter this forbidden world. And that, of course, means that Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh are going to have to go and save her. And when they actually return to this big icy cave, it's no longer empty. It's in fact inhabited by a group of super creepy goblins. Now, before I go any further, what is the deal with all of the goblin shows this anime season? This fall 2018, there are 3 shows which involve goblins. There is, of course, Goblin Slayer, which sort of speaks for itself. It's a series about a knight who loves to kill goblins. We have a comedy series, which is called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which features an entire village of very goofy and very sexy goblins. And then we have SAOA, which also introduces a group of goblins which arguably look like the most disturbing of all 3 series, and easily having the best production value. The look of the goblins in this episode just looks so damn good, and a lot of that is attributed to the fact that SAOA seems to have a budget which is absolutely ridiculous. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this series looks damn good. But one of the biggest developments of this episode is that Yu-Gi-Oh actually has that rose sword that was inside of the dragon's cave, and it's so big and so heavy that it has taken him months just to drag it to this tree. And he actually presents this to Kirito because Kirito proposes that maybe another weapon could be used to actually cut down the tree. And that's when Yu-Gi-Oh decides, well, Kirito's a swordsman, let's see if he can actually do something with this incredibly ridiculous and overpowered sword, which looks like it's going to be sort of like the titular weapon of this series. And even though Kirito himself is quite experienced with using blades, he has a really tough time in actually using this sword, but they do learn that it is incredibly powerful and can even cut through this tree a lot better than the actual axe. It still is going to take a very long time, as they only managed to knock 1 point of HP away from this tree, but it looks like there is going to be hope for being able to cut this thing down in the future. The main reason Kirito wants to sort of expedite this process is so that he can basically free Yu-Gi-Oh from this part of his life so that they can go and try and find Alice and maybe some more secrets to this world and why he's trapped here in the first place. Which again, they don't even really get too much in this episode all about that. Really, I think this one is going to be more about the journey, not so much the destination. So what's the rundown on this episode of SAOA? While this was, in my opinion, kind of a slow episode, as the first 4 episodes of SAOA, and I only say 4 because the first episode was basically 2 episodes altogether, has mostly just been watching Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh hang around a giant tree. The good thing is the actual characterization that they're giving to all of these characters is just really great. I actually find myself giving a shit about these characters, and what's most interesting is that they might not even be real in the first place. Kirito is existing in this world, which is an actual fabrication of real people. They are artificial souls. They're not like NPCs in a video game. They seem to be living and breathing and doing their own thing. To them, actually calling up these menus in a video game is just a simple simple magic command, which is a normal thing in this world, and they see it simply as just that, a tool that they use in their everyday life. They aren't aware at all that they're actually these weird constructs that exist in this very weird virtual space. And again, that sort of makes this season feel a little closer to the very first part of SAO, and I have a feeling that fans of the series are really going to like it for that. But again, I really like that they're taking the time to introduce and build up these characters, and not give us too many answers too quick. I actually care about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Selka and their relationship to Alice, which, man, I cannot wait to see what the deal is with her again, as even though we don't quite know what she's going to do in the series quite yet, they do show a lot of her in the intro, and it is implied that we are going to be seeing more of her, and that Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh! Eventually are going to become competent warriors. Here we're going to have to see that actually happen, and getting to see Yu-Gi-Oh! As this sort of timid warrior at first is interesting. When they actually go into the cave and see these goblins, Kirito is used to this shit. He's seen fantasy monsters all the time, but for someone like Yu-Gi-Oh!, who's actually confronting them in this situation, he is shaking in his boots completely. And again, it adds so much realism to these characters. They don't act like an artificial being at all, and that alone is easily one of the most interesting things about the show. That and the fact that we are completely in the underworld here. They're not showing us any scenes which actually take place in the real world, or even what happened after that big confrontation that Kirito had with Johnny Black of Laughing Coffin. I mean, did Kirito survive? Did he end up getting stabbed? Is he dead? Is he actually just consciousness alive in this world? Like, really, what's going on? Inquiring minds want to know, and the mystery of this series is ultimately what I think is driving it. That, with the fantastic characterization and the amazing production value of this show, I cannot understate how good this show actually looks. Whether it's the distinctive character designs, the amazing fantasy backdrops, or just the look of these goblins in this cave. And I cannot wait to see if Kirito is actually going to have the chops to bring these dudes down. It might inspire Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's going to be the very first roadblock on their quest to save Alice. This was a great episode, which is why I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. If any of you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of SAOA. Thank you guys for watching this review. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.